All right. Hello, 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 everybody. Very, very good evening. A very, very good morning for those of you it is morning right now, and very, very good afternoon to those for whom it is afternoon. My name is Lakshan. I am one of the co-founders of Guiding Light Coaching, and this session that you're a part of is a part of our fifth anniversary celebration series of events. The theme for this particular celebration is presence, practice, and prosperity. Presence, the way that we understand it, is all about the inner work that we do to remove things from ourselves that are no longer us, so that our full selves, whole selves, complete selves, true selves uh, can emerge, and we can serve that to the people that we work with, and more importantly, live it on an everyday basis, so that the people who don't even know they're being impacted by us are being impacted by us. Then there is practice, which is all about how can we leverage this skill of coaching and apply it across the board in as many contexts as we possibly can. This could be with individuals, in organizations, leaders, managers, executives, professionals. It could be in families with kids and parents. It could be everywhere else as well. It could also be in the context of groups and teams, communities, in every facet of every person that you can come across. And then there is prosperity, which is how can we take all the inner work that we've done and the skill of coaching and find a way to create a prosperous life for ourselves. This could be in terms of the money we make, and more importantly, prosperity in terms of things that go beyond wealth. That is the contribution that we have towards our communities and society as a whole, so that we leave the world a much better place than we found it. We believe that these are the three primary facets or fundamental pillars of what it means to be a coach. And this particular session is a session that is about the facet of practice. It is all about understanding what it is that creates patterns in us that don't serve us and hence don't serve the people that we're meant to be serving. And in order for us to have this conversation, we have invited one of my most favorite people in the entire world. We have Deepa Mahesh with us today. Deepa is a PCC coach who is currently on her way to her MCC. She's already submitted her application just a few months away. She's a seasoned leadership facilitator and a self-mastery expert who designs and facilitates conscious leadership journeys, enabling ambitious leaders to achieve success with balance. She blends her expertise in psychology with extensive corporate HR experience to deliver leadership solutions with depth, practicality, and transformative impact. With a background in expressive arts therapy, Deepa leverages her profound understanding of human behavior and emotions to create impactful group processes and one on one coaching interventions. Her work blends evidence based coaching, embodiment practices, and creative arts to foster authenticity, sustainable inside out transformations in both individuals and organizations. The philosophy with regards to this particular session is super simple. Unless you identify and resolve your own drama patterns, you will not be able to enable that same journey for the people that you serve. So, without any further ado, Deepa, welcome. The floor is yours. Take it away.
Thank you. Do share the introduction later with me. It sounded nice. Welcome to all of you here. It feels like I've come home. I started, in this space, sharing my knowledge, and I'm back again and very, very grateful for this opportunity to yet again share what I became aware of many years ago. So I was telling the team how I came across the drama triangle and the empowerment triangle, mostly the drama triangle. It was, I think, around 2014 or something when I was having a supervision session with my supervisor. At that time, I was practicing as an expressive arts therapist. And I was telling about the client. And I remember my supervisor, Anshuma, telling me, pause. So we paused, and because I was going on and on and on and on. And then she said, do you know about the drama triangle? I said, no. Then she explained it to me. And then she says, where are you? I said, I'm talking for the client. Why are you asking me? She says, just pause. Look at yourself. In that session, where were you? I said, I was a rescue. And then she asked me, okay, go one level below. And what was the need inside you to rescue? I said, because I felt the stress of not being able to move the client out of the situation. But that was a light bulb moment for me. And ever since then, I've been uh, not reading so much, but observing. It is there in the background as my lens in looking at human behavior, human interactions with my children, interactions between my children and their contact. Like I'm just observing. It just feels good to observe and to have something as a lens. So what I'm going to share today is my understanding of this concept. And we have very short time. So in as much simplicity, I'll just put that forward. And the internet is flooded with information on that, on this concept. So you can, access that. And I'm open to have a conversation on this as well. In fact, in the last retreat, I do 2 retreats a year. In the last retreat, we had used this principle as well in the whole retreat process. So it can be layered in facilitation, can be layered in coaching, in therapy, in every aspect, because it's a frame to look at human behavior and human interactions. So I'm just going to bring my slides.
So while Deepa is doing that, I just want to quickly let all of you know, if you have any questions or any input that you want to give, please put it in the chat. Deepa and I were speaking about this earlier today, that she doesn't want it to be this 40-minute lecture. She wants it to be a lot more interactive, that she can draw from what you guys have to share, and she can co-create this with all of us. That being said, Deepa mentioned something about feeling like she's come back home. And in order for us to make her feel as welcome as possible, let's keep our cameras on as long as possible in today's session, please.
Thank you. You're such a nice host, Lakshmi. I feel warm. Okay. So diving straight into the topic. But before I do that, I want to set a context. I'm not sure if many of you know Viktor Frankl. When I came across his book Man's Search for Meaning, it connected with me so much because he's an Austrian neurologist, psychiatrist, and Holocaust survivor. And he brings this fundamental desire in people to search for meaning. And as an HR professional, when I was managing OD, I saw this and I had designed a program based on this framework of man's search for meaning. Now, when I'm saying man's search for meaning, it typically comes across at age 35, 36. It becomes profound when one experiences a midlife, mid-career crisis. So I had designed a program based on, for the transition out of the crisis, but it was based on this principle. And I love this. He says that between the stimulus and the response, there is a space. And in this space is our power to choose our response. And in our response, in that choice, lies our growth and our freedom. So he talks about this space and he talks about the power that we have to choose our response. Now, there are lots of sessions we do on resilience and emotional reaction versus response. So my way of understanding this is as a stimulus. And when the response is too close without the space, it's a reaction. And when you create the space, smaller or bigger, whatever, it's that space which generates multiple options for us to choose our response. And this response, this space actually is very, very important. I call this space as presence moment. I call it pause to presence. Unless you pause and consciously say that I am not going to react, I'm going to pause, even if it means counting backwards, forward, whatever you do, whatever practices you want to do, it's separating. And in that lies our ability to make those choices. Now, when it comes to, so we will explore what are the different narratives in the drama triangle, how can we use presence, and the movement from being a victim to being, to choosing empowerment or empowered moves. That's what we will explore today. So I'm going straight to the topic, and we'll dance together. Now, the empowerment, the drama triangle is basically a concept coming from TA, from transactional analysis. And it originated by Stephen Karpman in, I think, 1968. Now, he was a student of transactional analysis, and he said that human interactions fall in these three buckets. These are three roles inside us. Which role we keep moving from one role to the other, and it's all inside us. Now, depending on which role we choose, our interactions will be colored, and our presence will be impacted. So let's look at the victim first. Now, a victim aspect of the drama triangle is when it's like this helpless, bichari me. Why did this happen? You've seen clients, even we say it. And all of these come under stress. When we are stressed, we fall into this automatically. And when we fall into this automatically, the space between the stimulus and the response shortens. And we are not able to make choices. The choicefulness reduces, resourcefulness reduces. So the victim is the poor me syndrome. Yeah, it is the helpless. I'm helpless. I'm needy. I'm just going to get my pointer. Yeah. So it's complaining, it's whining, stuck actually. All of these are stuck patterns, by the way. But I'm stuck in my um, ever calling out narratives, and I always feel powerless. From the victim, let's go to the next one. It's the persecutor. The persecutor is basically uh, somebody. I mean, this is I always imagine this. This is the gesture. If it were an embodied gesture, a victim will be this. Poor me. A persecutor is this. I'm aggressive, I'm angry, I'm always putting the opposite person down. I do not value others' views. And if you go really below the eyes or deep down, they are so unhappy with themselves that they're not happy with anybody else. And it whoever they have a relationship with, in the persecutor mode, that relationship is not going to flower. It burns bridges. It's very spiteful, and it is demanding. It's aggressive. Move to the other one, the third one in the triangle, the rescuer. Now, the rescuer is wanting to jump. It's like this. I'm always doing this. I want to jump into it, and I will jump into and help you solve your problems. They're a problem solver. So I'll help you solve even if I am sacrificing something for myself. Sometimes you know that there are some people who are very, very over sacrificing, over helpful, even when you don't know. And my supervisor was telling me I had become this for my client without me knowing that, and then when I dig deeper with it, and then from the supervision, I had to take it to my therapist. And then when I looked at what was below the iceberg, I realized that I wished I had a rescuer. So it was coming from a victim. I'm so bichari. I wished I had a rescuer. So let me become a rescuer for somebody so that they don't struggle like I struggled in my years. So that was the underlying essence behind it. But here, what happens is when you are a rescuer, you don't allow the opposite person to grow. Sometimes we as parents become a rescuer, or our parents may have been. And my mother was a rescuer for me. And because of which I didn't learn many life lessons. I didn't learn how to manage my finances. I didn't learn how to manage my decisions. My first decision I took, was when I was 24 to marry the person I married. Till 24, all decisions were taken by mother. And that is how the rescuer role impacts. So any questions that you have on any of this?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
can I ask?
Hmm.
So what happens to the space in the rescuer mode and the persecutor mode? You said that when you're in the victim mode, the space kind of gets reduced.
Yeah.
What are the
Shrink.
rules?
See, again, there are, it is interaction, no? So in the persecutor mode, you want to get things done and you get things done with a blame. So you're always restless. You're always anxious. You are not sure whether you will get work done. And because you're not happy with yourself, you're always persecuting the other. It's like you're always blaming the opposite person. So the energy is again shrinking only. All the three energies are belittling or shrinking. The entire drama triangle is about identifying those shrinking energies. They are not in the expansive energy. And the rescuer, you rescue to help them, thinking that you're becoming big, but actually speaking, it's a reaction. So again, you are playing from smallness and not bigness. Yes, Johnny.
But before Johnny, Vivek had raised his hand. I'm so sorry, Johnny.
Oh, I'm
Vivek
not
raised
able to
his hand
see.
first.
Sorry.
Sorry, my
Yes,
video
Vivek.
was off. Yeah. I was just going to ask Deepa, I think, so is it also possible for the rescuer to want to problem solve, not necessarily putting themselves at harm, but in a case where the client isn't either asking or isn't ready? I think this is a space I used to find myself in before my coaching journey, which is when I see a problem, there's a part of me which wants to solve the problem. And
Yeah,
if they
yeah,
don't want to solve the problem,
yeah.
but even the putting yourself at harm is not a necessary component, right? That's the part I was curious about.
No, it is not an ethic component, but if the client doesn't want and you're still solving, you become a rescuer, and a part of you is reacting and not responding. Because if you were responding, you would have paused, you would have got to presence and said the client doesn't need this. So I shut up right now. After the session, in my own personal therapy or coaching, or supervision, wherever, I'll process.
Cool. Thanks.
Yes, Johnny.
Yeah, thanks, Deepa. Great introduction, and I'm just wondering if is there a connection between this triangle with um, perceptual positions in NLP that we use for coaching, and also psychodrama that we use in process work.
Yeah.
They look similar, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there could be nuances. And also here, Deepa, the persecutor also, the victim also is constantly blaming.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not just
It
the
is,
persecutor, but the
yeah,
victim is also blaming to his or her
yes.
position of
Fate.
innocence.
Yes, yes, yes. They are blaming, but in a persecutor, they blame the other. It's about who you're blaming. And we have all three. It's just that we have to find out which one is more prevalent in you as a trigger. Uh, to identify which role do you and I go naturally, is that awareness bit. So in one, there is a shade of the other. Yeah, there is that shade, and in essence, the shade is the shrinking. But it's about when I'm a victim, I am blaming myself, I'm blaming fate, I'm blaming, I'm wallowing in self pity. That's the essence. So, what is the each energy has an essence, and that is what you tune into. Like for example, when I told you, she asked me which one, and I said rescuer. There was a victim underlying. So they come hand in hand. But what's the primary leading in that situation is what we look. And with practice, you're able to, if you're able to, and that's why I say this thing is about identifying it in self. If you're able to identify in self, the client doesn't need to complete the whole narrative for 30 minutes or for 10 minutes. The moment they start, you'll be able to identify the narrative. And what I do is I don't share the concept with them. my questions will be guided by the lens. And I was telling Lakshan that that's what I do. I guide, my
Yeah.
questions are informed from the lens, and
So
they will pause.
yeah, right. So yeah, the concept is never shared because they don't have a context to the concept,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they are
correct.
playing those roles.
Roles, yeah, correct.
They're playing out
Correct.
the roles, and I
Yeah.
play along with them as a coach.
Yeah, correct.
Thanks, Deepa.
And but I in one or two cases in my entire history of therapy plus coaching, I would have shared about 2 3 times, because it is 12 sessions and repeated patterns, and sometimes awareness is important, like study, psychoeducation is important, so I make that call and I take that permission and I share. But in few cases where it was absolutely necessary, and I still remember the aha in their eyes, because there was a long pause after that. We didn't need to speak because the client was processing it for themselves. And then they understood that all the sessions that they have been speaking is all based on this. That's when they could identify. So, maybe it's a call that we take. Yeah. And the shift, is to the empowerment triangle. So,
Deepa,
but
just before that, there's a couple of questions.
Mm.
Uh, can I ask Ranjit to ask his question? Ranjit?
Yeah, can you hear me, Deepa?
Yeah.
So I have two questions. One question is like, is there anything positive about these three
No.
aspects that you spoke about?
No.
The
No.
reason I'm asking this because many a times, what my thought was, and you can let me know what's your experience is, because many a times people play victim or persecutor role, etc.,
Mm.
because they are protecting a part
Yeah.
of them which is
Yeah.
deeply hurt,
Yes.
and
Correct.
they don't want it to hurt further, so in some way it is helping them.
Yeah. Correct.
That's what so I wanted to just understand from that perspective, what is your
Yeah.
view when you see these roles?
Yeah. So when they've come to me, with the trust that they want to shift from X to Y. So I am serving that objective. So if I'm serving that objective, and if they say they don't want to go, they don't go. But I have realized that these three roles are not positive. If they're holding the hurt for too long, then the relationship between me and the client is not going to reach them to their desired objective. So I would call it out. Okay. And I would call it out the pattern that I can sense that, they are protecting. But, and if they still want to be there, it's still a data point that I play back.
Okay. So you're saying it could be possible that to the level of hurt they are in, they might choose in to be in that state that's being better than moving out of that state. That could also be a possibility because the
Yeah.
kind of hurt or what they are in,
Yeah.
and the
It's a
resourceful they have.
possibility. Definitely it's a possibility. But in therapy, mostly I've seen that. See, therapy sessions are very long. Like I have clients working with me for 2 years, 3 years, so there is no hurry. Everything happens at that time.
Mhm.
They can, and we never look at objectives. We never say, well, I have never told them, okay, what do you want to take away at the end of the session? They just sit, they talk, they don't talk, doesn't matter. There are times when I've had clients who just left through the session. So
Mhm.
so what happens, the difference between a therapy session and a here is that I'm dealing with a person whose sense of self is more stronger than, somebody whose sense of self is not in a therapy session. So
Mhm.
I would sense, I would judge that if their sense of self is stronger, I will mirror it. And not directly by saying your drama, your this or that. My question will be informed like that. So they will not know where it comes from. It feels like a googly at that point in time. But they can make a choice to answer or not.
Mhm. So you make it from the resourcefulness that they have, as you said, the sense of self, as you said, the resourcefulness that they have at that moment. Based on that, I think that it progresses further. It might be possible that they might not have the resourcefulness to engage in that hurt or that state right now.
Yeah.
So you let them, that's
Yeah, it's
okay.
a choice they have. My question will still, it is not even from the resourcefulness. My question will be coming from awareness, to deepen evoking awareness. That's the fundamental. Okay, because till then, I don't know whether they're resourceful or not. But I can clearly know when I sign up with a therapy client versus when I sign up with a coaching client. There is a clear difference. I will not sign up for coaching if they need help. The entry point is very clear to me.
Got it. Thanks a lot, Deepa. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Sure.
One more question, Deepa. Anne has a question, which is, does the drama triangle get active only under stress?
I have seen it activated. You can identify it very clearly. Where do you go to? You're under stress, you know your pattern. So if you reflect under stress, what's your pattern, you will be able to do. And I think that is what I want all of you, if you can, get into that. Look, consider, recall a moment of time when you were under stress. It could be small stressor or a big one. Okay, just recall, and then you identify which role did you naturally step in. Because it's a protection response. You want to protect yourself, like Ranjit said. And each one has a pattern. What is the first thing you do? And when you go to that, identify, just notice, how did it feel in your body? What story were you telling yourself at that time? That you'll hear an internal dialogue. Yeah. And I know that in a masterclass, the time is short, but do reflect on this. Yeah. You identify which one do you go to. And you can look at 3-4 stressful situations and look at where do you go to. Yeah. And the best thing is that we have an antidote. And these patterns can be noticed in your clients as well. Same patterns you can notice. There is an antidote to it. And that antidote is the empowerment triangle or the empowerment dynamic. Now, this was created in 2005 by David Emerald. And there is this transformation possibility. The victim transforms to creator. Because victim says, bichari me. Life is happening to me. So how can I create life? Is what the creator energy says. Now, it shifts from this to this. So my feet are grounded, and it completely shifts from closed to a shrinking energy to an expansion energy. Okay, and how much expand doesn't need to be this much. How much expansion is left to what you can create, or how much you can create, and it can't be like drastic, because if you're used to playing a victim energy, it's not going to be like this. But you can be on that path or the transition from a victim to a creator. And he says that David says that a persecutor shifts to a challenger. So a persecutor is blaming, is saying you didn't do it, you didn't do it, you didn't do it. Now a challenger will say, how can you do? The challenger will say, let's figure out a way. Typically I do a lot of this in team interactions. How can the leader in leadership programs, how can the leader talk to them as a challenger rather than a persecutor? And that narrative, how do you speak to them, can change. So persecutor can become a challenger, and a rescuer, because they jump into it, a coach has to hold back. You have to stand by on the periphery and ask supportive questions, typically like a coach, in order that they find their resourcefulness. The opposite person will find their resourcefulness. And if it is for yourself, then you have to shift from, being a quick fix person to standing and asking the question to yourself. How can I do it? What can enable me? What resources do I have? All the coaching questions that you ask anyone, you can ask yourself. So if you are stuck, know that you will be in one of the drama triangle elements. And if you want to shift, you can move into the creator, the challenger, or the coach mode in order to find that expansion. Now, the same thing can be observed in the client, but this needs for us from the stimulus to the response to make that choice, which means that I can't do this. I have to create that pause. I have to breathe, or I have to do some practice to say that, let me make a choice. So the shift also is about presence, is about awareness, is about consciousness, is about choicefulness, is about resourcefulness, is about expansion. It's about purposeful living. So it's about all those aspects that you want to create for yourself and your client. Yeah. Now you can create a set of questions for yourself. And I involve my own questions in that moment when a client is speaking. But a lot of times I've seen that in a client session, um, I become the coach. I am the coach. So over a period of time, they know how to ask those questions to themselves. So they are training themselves to, if they're stuck, then how do they ask those coaching questions to themselves? In therapy, that is what used to happen. The outer therapist becomes the inner therapist. I've been in therapy for 9.5 years. And the day I stopped is when I told my therapist that now I think I have an inner therapist. I had internalized that. So the coach can be therapist also, but that you integrate it. I am not running to her, for her to rescue me, but I am able to ask this questions to myself and pause and make those choices. So that's how the transformation really works. Yeah. And literally the presence is to cut the entanglement. It's a bridge. Presence is a bridge. Now, it is difficult to bring the bridge when there is a live process going on for yourself or for the client. So this presence are a set of micro practices that you practice even before, and not during a heightened situation or stress. So that is why I say stimulus and response. In the center is that pause to presence moment. And those micro practices help. Now, what micro practices and what kind of micro practices? For that, we have to understand this concept of presence leaks. Where does our presence leak? So this is the Panchakosha model coming from the Taittiriya Upanishad, from the Indic wisdom. And it talks about the 5-layered existence of a human being. Okay, so imagine, then forget where it's coming from, but just look at we exist in 5 layers. One is the physical body. The second is the breath body. And breath is not just breathing, but all the functions in our body, which is rhythmic. Everything that's rhythmic, breathing, heart functioning, everything that's rhythmic is in the breath body. Emotional body is all the emotions, and emotional body works. I hate you. That's the nature. I hate you and I love you. It goes like a pendulum. So presence leaks there when I'm in one of the poles. So in the physical body, when I'm tired, when I'm not exercising, or when I'm not in control of my body, or when I'm not using my body as an instrument to sense, or my senses have gone for a toss. When that happens, the physical body is not in control. Breath body is not in control when I feel tired, when I wake. I've had 10 hours of sleep, but I have felt so exhausted and tired. Emotional body I talked about. Intellectual body is when I'm not able to make clear decisions. I lean on somebody, I'm dependent on somebody, or I don't decide, or I don't, I'm not clear on decisions. And bliss body, my interpretation of bliss body is when I'm not connected with my purpose. So that is when the bliss body, is leaking. When I'm connected to my purpose, then my presence is available to me. So when there is an imbalance, the presence leaks. So when the presence leaks, then you install practices, but you don't install practices when it's leaking. You install practices before so that you prevent the leak. You don't allow it to leak. Now there are a whole lot of practices, and this is not a suggestive list. I'm just sharing a few that as an idea, but you can do whatever you want. For the physical body, let's go from the physical. Now, for the physical body, I'm first thing muscle relaxation. So when we are in the drama triangle mode, we are in the contracted mode. So muscle relaxation is about contraction to expansion. So physically, you can look up Jacobson's muscle relaxation technique. It comes from drama therapy, dance and drama therapy, dance and movement therapy. So it says that you can just contract your muscles and release your muscles isolated. Head ka muscles, shoulder muscles, hands, body, stomach. When you do that, you're training your body to go from the closed to the open. Then your presence is available to you to not react but respond. So that's one technique. And the other one I'm saying is sense profile. This I've learned from Krishna Prakash, who's also a part of our coaches circle, where we have 5 senses, and we have a tendency to get swayed, in each sense. So, like for example, when we do physical sessions, if I love aroma, and if my client has come with a certain perfume that I like, it will erode my presence. Or if they come with a aroma which I don't like, it will erode my presence. So identifying which senses erode your presence and making a profile of that is a great practice. I've been doing this for the past 2.5 months, and it's a great awareness tool to see what erodes presence. For the breath body, restful sleep. Because everything is integrating, and all the functions are getting tuned and trained to perform their job properly. And conscious breath watch. So conscious breath watch, even right now, as I'm talking, I'm watching. Because when we are anxious, when we are in stress, breath goes up and down. So when we watch, we are tuning our breath to be equanimous. For the emotional body, watching your emotions, tracking your emotions. What are my triggers? You can identify your triggers, and that helps you to keep your emotional body regulated. There are many practices. I'm just giving you a few. Intellectual body, I think just awareness. I'm just suggesting one thing. What am I being aware of before, during, and after the conversation? Like before I logged in here, I was aware. During, I'm aware. After, I'll do my own practice. So that you'll be able to identify how your thoughts are moving. So you're actually building your thoughts profile. And for the bliss body, knowing the why of everything. Why are you here? Why am I here? Why do you go elsewhere? Why you don't go elsewhere? Why did I travel to Bali? Why did I not go somewhere? So the why of everything is the base. And this, I found it very useful. You may have other practices as well. So when practices really are installed before, when you are in a trauma triangle situation, you can quickly go to these practices and regulate and move to empowerment. So it's like that shift that happens. When you can do it, you can aid it for the client as well. Because I have seen that the client mirrors you. And mirroring is something I have learned very deeply in my movement therapy practice, where mirroring is a great tool for transformation. So when you display something, they mirror you. And without doing anything, that mirroring helps in transformation. So that's this. So it is noticing, it is being present and understanding, having that choice, in between the stimulus and the response, noticing it, being present, making that choice, and experiencing that empowerment. And which is in alignment with, your search for meaning, your search for expansion, your wanting to expand at every point in time. Yeah. So yeah, this was really my last slide. And this progress or this transition from drama to empowerment is actually natural. It's just that the dynamics we can get stuck into, and especially if you are new to observe it, you can use different tools. This is just one lens. Like I think Johnny was saying, there are many lenses to look at it. In theory, you look at it from the lens of voice of fear, voice of cynicism, voice of judgment. You observe that, you suspend it, come to presency, and then you act it in instant. So the same process is offered in different methods. But the whole idea is, how can I drop them, come to presence, and come up to awareness, so that I shift and move towards empowerment and move towards expansion. And you first, and then the client. It starts with you, they mirror you. And you also attract clients who are similar, or they are where you were earlier. So you're in a position to hold space for them, not rescue them, but hold space. And on this note, I also want to share that in December, I have put together a retreat which uses Theory U, and which uses creative tension, drama, triangle, all of that to help you to set your goals for 2026. So it's an immersive 3 days retreat in Bangalore. And if anybody of you are interested in doing deeper work to shift from the drama aspect to an empowered aspect, you may want to consider this as an option, apart from all the other inner work that you do. Because presence is about continuous inner work. Like Lakshan, I think when he set the context on what is presence, it is about continuous inner work, and about, first of all, wanting to shift and having the tools to shift, and observing that I have shifted, and not being in the narrative, oh, I have to shift, I have to shift, I have to shift. Sometimes even observing and telling yourself that, oh, I have shifted, is such a integration experience. I'm now open to take any questions.
There's a question in the chat that came up as you were talking about the drama triangle from Nupur, which is, how do I calibrate between empathy and disruption? If I stay too compassionate, I risk enabling. If I disrupt too quickly, I risk re-traumatizing or shutting down the client. Sometimes the state is so deeply rooted in a person's identity that they cannot leave the state easily.
Yes. And you can't rescue them. You can only hold space. You can ask questions. You can aid the inquiry. So if it is too early, then sometimes, that's the truth. Yeah, and we just stay with that truth, with where they are. Yeah, correct. The other thing I feel is, in this whole process, the coach's presence becomes very important. How do you feel when you know where they have to go, but you can't do it because they're not ready? How does that make you feel? And that inquiry is the coach's growth opportunity. And that's why practices before, during, and after a coaching session is very, very important. Like taking those notes of how did it make you feel, what is the learning, how does it, a lot of times I've wanted to rescue. I have not done it because I'm following a process. But what is in me that wants to rescue? It's an inquiry question for me. And I would go deeper into that, because that is the potential for my transformation.
Right. What other questions? Yes, Johnny.
Yeah, so I was just reflecting on the bus point, and I was just wondering, will I ever be the rescuer as a coach? And my answer was a very strong no, and never.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because as a witness to the rescuing process, you can be the mirror holding as a coach, but you can never be the rescuer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have seen coaching conversations where the rescuer has been active because of the coach's discomfort of staying with the process of the butterfly, of the caterpillar turning into a butterfly, and not being okay with that process. So, yeah, and if this is true for you, Johnny, then amazing. But it's a possibility. Oh, yes, Sunita. Yeah, this retreat uh, basically enables those people who are wanting to create their life, be the creator of their life in 2026. Now, what happens is in when you create a vision, but the drama triangle and the voices of fear, they are patterns. These voices and the drama energies do not allow you to believe in your vision. So you feel pulled back. So what it this retreat will enable you is to pause, is to dwell, because it's all about presence practices and about enabling you to see what can pull you back and identifying those pulling back forces and then staying true to your vision, and then you become a creator. So when you're a creator, seldom you'll come to the victim. You can come to the victim, but when you, even if you drop to the victim, you'll quickly go up and say, hey, I had committed to myself to be the creator. I don't belong here. So then I go. And the other thing is that creation happens in spaciousness. Like a child is in the womb which never existed before, it formed and the child is there. So any creation happens there. So the retreat is that creation, that womb space where you can create and identify all that you want to do. Oh, super, uh, Sunita. And it's happening in School of Ancient Wisdom, Bangalore. Oh, yes, Ajit. Yes, you did the emotions retreat. Thanks. The dates, Sapna, are 19th December to 21st December. We start on 19th at 3 o'clock and finish on 21st at 5 o'clock. Thanks, Lakshan.
What, no more questions? I thought you guys will have loads because the speaker is such, the topic is such.
Topic. Also,
She's
it
so
needs a little
amazing,
more.
Lakshan. In her presence, all our things dissolved away.
Questions are answered. They all disappear, is it?
Vivek, सुबह से कोई नहीं मिला ना?
I'm going to try to make the December retreat, Deepa, if this thing allows.
Yeah. Lovely. So any thoughts on which mode do you play by?
So I was
Which
actually
one?
reflecting on this
Okay.
when I looked at the drama triangle.
Yeah.
I can't relate at all to the victim state.
Hmm.
The rescuer, I before I became a coach, I can see how I would have been that. I think that would have been like my predominant thing. But now it really is not the case. Like, really, I was reflecting on this as you were talking about this. Persecutor in the sense of getting, and it's a lot of work. And mind you, I get a lot of work to do when it's there. I get all stressed and all. And I think I just get bitter, spiteful, like just angry sometimes. So I was just thinking, which of these three would I fall into? I don't see myself falling into either of the other two. So I was thinking maybe it is persecutor only, but I really want to sit and reflect on this because I know this
Yeah.
is very nuanced.
Yeah. Correct. It is. Correct. Yeah. So I can see 4 rescuers there. Yes. You know, the rescuer has got this the energy, what they receive is this badappan, you know, that, oh, I have rescued. It's a very false notion of becoming big and being purposeful in the life of somebody. Yeah. And with inner work, that's exactly what happens. You know what Sunita is saying, what Ravi is saying. With consciousness and inner work, that shifts. Hi, dear Anu.
So there are questions, one
Anup.
from Vivek and then from Anup. So Vivek, your question?
Yeah, I was going to respond to your prompt, Deepa. So I feel like Lakshan was saying, I feel before I done my coaching journey, there was definitely a lot of rescue or what it's called problem solver in me. I feel it came less from a place of, hey, I am better than you, but from just an eagerness to solve problems.
Yeah.
I feel with coaching, I think at least in my perspective, I've made significant improvement over there. I feel the where my challenge is when I encounter somebody who is in victim and wants to just stay in victim. I think I find that mildly triggering. And I think in my previous world, I would try to encourage them to come out of victim. In this world, I'm like, hey, it is their journey, but I still haven't transcended that to a degree where it does not bother me. It's which I'm like, dude, if you want to complain, then yeah, I find it difficult to. So, very concretely, right? If somebody needs to complain as a part of expression in their journey to go on to do something about it, I can absorb that 100%. But when I come across just the complaining energy where people want to do nothing else, I find it triggering and I need to do some inner work towards.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for so clearly recognizing it. Yes, trigger is the right word. If you identify your triggers, you'll be able to identify which energy. Anup, you had your hand.
Yeah, Anup had a question.
Yeah, I also thought was conscious of time, but it was a reflection of your
Yeah.
prompt, just
Yeah.
like earlier. I think I resonate quite strongly with the rescuer position. In fact, I think my inclination to move towards coaching, rightfully or wrongfully, initially was from the rescuer location.
Yes.
So I was like a classic rescuer coach, right? I think it's a lot of inner work to, I think, step back, including the journey with guiding light, etc., to really move into the witness space, right? The witness coach, so to speak. Otherwise, the propensity. And mere mein utna, it's not as much about badappan and purposefulness as much as my own, let's say, inner child that's been persecuted. Genuinely,
Correct.
I can't protect, but I certainly can access that protective energy when I
Got it.
protect somebody else, you know. So in some ways there is a positive dimension to it, but it mostly gets quite dysfunctional. So it's a journey, like like a lot of us have
The journey. Yes.
spoken of, and that becomes
Absolutely.
content for my therapy and my
Yes. Correct. Correct. Absolutely. And the other thing of this is these energies are so nuanced. From the outside, a rescuer will look like God's gift to mankind. But from the inside, you'll know the struggle if you don't do it. You cannot do it. So when you can't not do it, that means that you're stuck in it.
Good.
Very true.
Yes, Divya.
Yeah. So my question is, can one person feel different? I mean, all the three roles in different situations. Is that possible?
Yes.
I
Yes,
can
yes.
I can answer that, Deepa. I was going to say that I have this is Bharti. I have all three on many days.
Yeah.
And I struggle with it. Sometimes with the same relationship. And of course, because of the present practice, I realize that there is a lot of work I'm doing. But to answer Divya's question, absolutely possible, and it is happening with me.
Yeah.
With my daughter, for example, often it is persecutor, come rescuer, come, what's the other one? Perpetrator.
Yeah.
Victim.
Persecutor, victim.
Victim. So it's all three with my daughter, actually.
Yeah.
So it happens with many relationships.
Yes. Which means that also that means, Bharti, that your biggest growth will happen in this through this relationship.
Yes.
So
It
the
is.
relationship is in your life for you to learn your lessons, and of
Yes.
course for the child to learn their lessons.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other thing is when you're starting to work, you go with what impacts you more and not spread too thin, because these energies grip you. There is a negativity in it. So you start with what causes you a lot more breakdown than the other. So you then go to one and then the other. Like for me, it's victim. So I go to the victim first.
Okay.
And then I install practices that jab ye aaya to what do I do? When this comes, what do I do? So you install and relate that.
Okay. But I do it as and when I see it.
Yeah.
So which means there's no prioritization. As it appears, I reflect on it and
Yes.
make amends. But it's very
That
hard, very hard.
That is good. Yeah. But
It's
if you
very hard.
reflect which one do you are you in this relationship more than the other,
Yeah.
then you'll be able to feel a sense. See, because when these energies operate, you feel out of control.
Yeah.
So to gain control, you need to deepen your reflection, and that's where it's a presence practice.
Yeah.
To just reflect.
Yeah. And sometimes you feel like blaming the external circumstances. You never quite think. In fact, you feel flawless.
Yeah.
I feel flawless many days. And then it requires deeper work to understand that it is our own
Yes.
emotions getting reflected.
Correct. Maybe the last question from Nupur and then we close.
Yeah, actually, that's for another question from
Okay.
Amita first.
Okay. Where the question is.
No, she's raised her hand.
Okay. Yes, Amita.
Okay, mostly it is like it is solved as the other person asked that we play
Okay,
the
sure.
three roles. But
Sure.
I just wanted to ask when at times we play as the persecutor because we want to be a rescuer in the situation. Like as a daughter or
Yeah,
my daughter, I can say
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
behaving like a persecutor because
Yeah.
I want to rescue her. Right?
Yeah. But there is an inner energy. If you go below the iceberg, you will see
Hmm.
that there is helplessness.
Right. So true.
Okay. So you have to identify the helplessness and shift that energy to resourcefulness. And
Okay.
then you will neither be the rescuer nor the persecutor. Because when you're being the persecutor or the rescuer, you're burning bridges with your child.
Right. That's what has happened right
Yeah,
now. I am
correct.
working on it, but
Yeah.
I think it is still it
Yeah.
needs to work
Yeah.
on more.
Correct. Typically, this happens with children.
Right.
That's
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Nupur.
Nupur, yeah.
Thank you. A comment and then a question. So I was reminded of one of my coaching certifications. I'd done two, where Peter Redding was our coach, and he had spoken about this drama triangle, and he had told us it was a topic on why you never coach your family. So he had spoken about the fact that he is one of the most world-renowned coaches, but at that point he was 70 something, and he said, still when I go back home to my mother, it takes me under 5 minutes to become a victim. So and even with me, I think there's a time in my life I was a victim. And when I was finding my voice and my boundaries and I found strength, I was first the persecutor with my parents. And it's only now that I'm coming into grace and holding boundaries as an act of love and not an act of aggression and violence. But I think sometimes you have to be in certain spaces to grow out of them. Specifically for me, with the context of coaching, since I tend to be in victim mode, what are the practices you were alluding to, certain practices you follow to come out of the victim mode? Could you share a few, please?
One of the practice, I'm just, the thing I'm reflecting that victim mode jab hota hai, to I can't see it's like.
Oh, sorry. Could I clarify? I'm sorry for wasting your time. I have felt like a victim in the past, so I become a rescuer. Apologies. I just wanted to clarify. So I tend to go a lot into problem solving, or sometimes
Mm.
I shift into the mentoring hat
Mm.
because I'm feeling so
Mm.
perplexed. So it's sorry, but it is the rescuer position.
Okay. So what's your question?
So practices
Practice. Yeah.
ground yourself, or for awareness to
For the rescuer,
yeah.
it is basically rescuer is this. So the practice is this. Hold back. Hold back. So it's like you rescue when you see the situation very small. You have to go to the periphery, like a mandala. You have to go to the periphery and then look at the center and all the drama that's playing. And then manage your emotions.
Sure.
Ganesh?
Anji, I've been a victim in the past at times. I'm responding to your stimulus, the question. But in the last few years, I've found myself more and more outside all of these states, in none of these states.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm not a rescuer, I'm not a perpetrator, and of course, I'm not a victim. I describe it, or the way I feel about it, it's an observer kind of state. Yeah, observer, absorber, letting it be. Bas, so, I mean, that's just something that I've realized over a period of time, and increasingly so in the last few years. So,
Yeah, possible.
and yeah, so I don't feel the need to act at all. And I think it comes from the sense that कि खुद ब खुद, कुछ ना कुछ तो निकल जाएगा. So let's see what emerges. Let it flow, let it emerge. And of course, this is in the context of relationships. So somewhere deep down, I think I've internalized this fact that the resources are there. So let's see what happens. Let it just let the person work it out. Probably that's the deep-rooted sense.
Yeah.
Just
Correct.
wanted to share this.
And as I'm hearing you, to me, it almost seems like a creator.
Acha, okay.
It's like you're in the creator mode, but a creator from presence, from the witness, from that you may the centermost place, where there's stillness, silence. You're a creator from that space. So there is a lot more emerging, and there's a lot
Right.
more emergence.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Deepa.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here till the last. And it's a pleasure to share. Share this space with all of you and share my thoughts on this topic. Lakshan?
Yes. So thank you so much, Deepa. I think this is my first time hosting you. I'm just thinking, is
Yeah,
it?
I
Is it
think
not?
so.
No, it is. Yeah,
I think
yeah. Yeah. So it's nice that in the 3 years almost that we've known each other, I've finally had a chance to host you. As part of our 5th anniversary celebration of all events. So thank you so much for being a part of this and making the dates work. And thank you all for joining us today. I think it's one of those sessions where if you're not fully engaged, you'll miss out a lot. And it's nice to see, all of you guys staying until the very end of the session. So it's lovely to have you guys here and looking forward to seeing you guys all tomorrow. There's another heavy hitter talking about a very interesting topic tomorrow as well. So see you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of the day. And yeah, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.